Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Tyrannosaurus Rex Escape Pack from the Jurassic World Legacy Collection from Mattel. This is one that I've been very excited about for a while now. I love the Ford Explorer tour vehicle from Jurassic Park. It is one of my all-time favorite vehicles from all of the franchise, and I have been really hoping that they would do it in the Legacy Collection for some time. So when this was announced, I was just absolutely floored. We had the Jeep before, and the Jeep is very good, but I was very excited for this vehicle. So we have this pack now. We get the Ford Explorer tour vehicle. We get a very tiny little Tim with his goggles, and then of course the T-Rex itself. Now you can see the tail is laying down here, so there's going to be a small amount of assembly required. Probably just have to plug that tail into the back end there. But it looks great. You also get this kind of like diorama piece in the background that you could use. It has like the fence, and it looks like some of the wires are down and everything like that. So very, very cool. I'm very excited. I got this from Target.com. Some people have started seeing them in stores as well. I believe the Legacy Collection is exclusive to Target, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely check Target.com or your local Target if you're trying to pick this one up. I believe it was around $50, but I feel like for the T-Rex and the car and Tim, it's a pretty good value. I think that's pretty cool. You can see it is the big exposed packaging here on the top. Just kind of says the name of the set again with the Jurassic World Legacy Collection logo. On the bottom here, again, just shows you how to pop that tail into the back. Otherwise, not too much going on. Over here on the side, just kind of like, I guess, some tree bark or something. It's kind of a bland pattern. Similar thing going on here on this side. But if we take a look at the back again, we just get a look at some of the features here. The window on the top does collapse in, just like in the movie when he comes in through the top and tries to eat the kids. The goggles are included, so we'll check those out as well. And it looks like all of the doors open, which is very, very cool. So very excited for this one. Going to go ahead and get it out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here's everything you get in the box. I think everything looks really great. I just want to do a quick group shot before we move in to take a look at each thing individually. We'll probably start with the T-Rex. So here is the T-Rex, and he looks pretty good. I think he's like the middle size class for T-Rex. They have a couple different ones. There's like a $50 one that's a lot more articulated, larger, can eat smaller dinos. This is not that release. He doesn't have a ton of articulation. The legs are all one solid piece. Now down here it almost looks like there's an articulation point, but I believe it's just because this is kind of a softer plastic than this is, and so it's two different pieces, and then that's just where they're joined at that seam. So they kind of wiggle a little bit, but they're not really meant to rotate. Now there is some movement here at the leg up here in the, I guess, waist, we'll call it. You can go in and out a little bit, and you kind of hear it like unclick, and then you can kind of move it around, but it doesn't really make sense to put it in too many other poses just because of the way he stands. So there is articulation there, but I feel like, you know, you're not going to get much use out of it, in my opinion. Same thing for the back leg here. You can kind of unclick that and move this around. I guess if you wanted to try to get him to stand up a little taller, you could try something like that. He can actually do it as long as you can move the tail out of the way. So I guess I was wrong. You can get a couple other poses, but you kind of have to bring these in, and you can kind of use the tail a little bit for balance. So, I mean, he looks the best in kind of the default pose, but if you do want a little bit taller pose, maybe he's trying to get something out of a tree or something like that, you know, it makes a little bit more sense. But I think it looks pretty good, and you can they kind of click back into the default place. Now the tail we did have to attach. You just go ahead and click it right in there, and then once it's in there for good. And you get a lot of nice range of motion with the tail. Now again, it does kind of look like there's another articulation point down here, but the tail is kind of a softer rubbery plastic. Not super rubbery, but a little bit, certainly more than the rest of the tail. So that's just where the two different pieces were joined. It's just kind of a seam, not really an articulation point. As far as the arms go, they do have tiny hinges. So let's see if I can figure out where these are, because they're kind of in a weird spot where you wouldn't necessarily think they would be. So it can kind of move out, in and out, just a tiny bit there, and you get a full rotation. So you have a little bit of in and out there on the hinge, as well as the rotation. He's got two neck joints, so you have a ball joint here, you have a ball joint here, and then there is a button on the top of his head that you can push to open up, and he's got a really wide opening mouth, which I think looks great. And they did a really nice job. They always do with the dinos. All the paint on the head, the shading, the eye looks amazing, the teeth look great. When you open this up, the inside's all really nicely like a pinkish red. The tongue here is kind of a softer bit of plastic. And it just really looks good. They do a really nice job painting and detailing the dinos. I've always been impressed with the job Mattel does with those. So I think this guy's pretty cool. I mean, if you think of the fact that he's probably in the $20 to $25 range on his own, I think he's got a lot of nice articulation. It's really in the head and the mouth where it counts. You got a little bit in the arms and a little bit in the legs and a good bit in the tail. Really nice amount of articulation there in the tail. So I'm pretty happy with him. I think he looks good. He's a good size and decent articulation. But I think where he really shines is the detail and the paint applications. That's where he really kind of comes alive. Especially the head, I think looks absolutely fantastic. So next up we have Tim. He is really quite small, but they did a pretty good job detailing him out. The head looks pretty good. He's wearing the outfit he wears in the film. Head is on a ball joint. It's a little stiff, but you can get it to move side to side. You have a little bit of up and down, but it's pretty limited. Just about that much down, that much up. So not really much to speak about, but side to side, perfectly good. He's got a hinge here in the shoulder and a rotation. Unfortunately, he doesn't have an elbow. The arms are one solid piece. He's got his tiny little goggles here. They're definitely like a softer rubbery plastic, so you can get them on and off the head pretty easily. And they have that little bit of yellow paint there on the front, so we can go ahead and pop that on. And that looks pretty good. I think they work really well. Down here, he can kick this much forward. He can kick out to the side. Can't really go back all that much. He does actually have knees, which is nice. So you got a hinge and a rotation in the knee. From the knee down is one solid piece. So he's really just missing elbows. If they could have given him elbows, he'd be just as good as any of the other figures in the line. Let's do a quick size comparison with Alan Grant. So you can see he's not quite half the size, but maybe 3/4 the size. And then here is Ian Malcolm, who's a little bit taller still. So I feel like they scale very well together. They did a really nice job scaling Tim. And I love the accessory that he comes with. I think that looks really, really good. And here it is, my absolutely favorite part of the set, the touring vehicle from the first movie. And they did such a great job with this. This is all paint. There are no stickers. You have the logo here on the front, Jurassic Park written on the side. You have the yellow that blends into the green with the red. It all just looks really, really good. Rolls very smoothly. Wheels are very nice there. You do have the little Jurassic Park. Now this might actually be a sticker. I'm not, well, it doesn't feel like a sticker, but it does look like it's a little crooked, so not 100% sure there. You have a spare tire molded in down here. Now you can see it has these little connection points. That's how it was connected into the box. Those little key pieces that you have to turn and then pull out so you can get it out of the packaging. But yeah, looks really, really good. Interior looks good. All 4 of the doors open up, so you can fit 4 figures comfortably inside. And then they kind of click into place really nicely and stay in place. They have these little tabs, as you can see, and then you just kind of push it in, clicks right into place. Really, really sharp. Now, you do have an open cargo area in the back. It's very difficult to access because this doesn't open at all. This is a solid piece that's just screwed into the top. I really wish there was just a hinge so you could just open this, kind of the exact same way the doors work, where you could just kind of bring it down and it would just kind of click into place. I wish that opened so you could get back there. I mean, it is open. You can reach it through here. So if I open this up, you can see my finger can get back there. So you could throw stuff back there. I just feel like it would probably be very difficult to get it back out. But if you have a bunch of accessories or things, you could definitely toss them in there. I wish this opened somehow, whether this whole piece lifted up or just the window, however they wanted to do it. But unfortunately, it does not. You do have the battle damage. This can kind of get pushed in, but then it just springs right back into place. We'll go ahead and pop some of these figures in here. So we have Alan Grant. Now you don't have to bend the knees too much. So if you have other 3 3/4 inch figures, or maybe even 4-inch figures, depending on how big they are, even if they don't have knee bends, you can still pretty much fit them in here. So you can just pop him in. Now he has a little bit of clearance problems with the hat, but we can get him in there. Just have to kind of finagle it a little bit, and then he rides pretty comfortably. We will put Ian Malcolm over here in the side, in the passenger seat. So get him to pop in. Now he's a little bit taller, so his legs don't clear as well. There we go. Okay. And then we can close this up. Oh, Okay, Alan somehow shifted while we were trying to get Ian in there. And sometimes it helps to just kind of like open up some of the other doors so you can get them into position. But there we go. We have these two riding comfortably. Now, I will say when you have characters in the front seat, this doesn't really work because it just hits into their heads. You didn't know Alan's hat was strong enough to repel a T-Rex attack, but something you learned today. It's very powerful. So that is a bit of a bummer, but I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you don't want it to come down and like break their heads or anything like that of the figures, so I guess it makes sense. But they look good riding in there. If you have them in the back seat, it works a little bit better, and I can position that. We'll get Tim in there. I'll take these guys out. All right, so right now I have Alan and Tim in the back seat, and you can see that this effect works a lot better when they're in the back seat because they just have more clearance. So we can bring in our T-Rex, and we can have him try to break in the roof here. Now, if you want, you can kind of simulate having the mouth open so you can get that to work like he's trying to get at the people inside. So very cool effect. I think it works pretty well. I think the original toy had the roof just kind of come off or something like that, but I think this works a little bit better because then you don't have to worry about storing this somewhere or losing it or it coming off. It's just a spring-loaded effect, which I think works pretty well. And as you can see, Tim fits super easily in because he's much tinier than the other figures. And really, all the figures fit a little bit better in the back seat just because it's a little bit taller, there's more space, and you don't have to contend with like the steering wheel or anything like that. So I think it looks great. Really, really fun. I absolutely love this. I think they did a really, really nice job on it. I think this is a pretty fantastic set. I think the value is definitely there. I am a little biased. Like I said, this is my favorite vehicle from the entire franchise, so I've been waiting for the Legacy Collection to get to this for some time, and I'm glad they finally have. They did a great job with it, though. The paint applications, it all just looks amazing. The yellow blending into the green, the logos, all paint, no stickers, looks great. Rolls very well, very smooth. The spring-loaded window gimmick or roof window gimmick at the top works well, I think. My only complaint about the vehicle, and it's a minor one, but there's no great way to get to this storage area back here. You can kind of throw some accessories over the back seat, but it'd be kind of hard to get them out. I wish the window opened up or maybe the whole hatch or however they wanted to do it, but I wish there was a little better access to that back storage area. But otherwise, vehicle's pretty great. Tim came out good. I wish he had elbows. It's my only nitpick with him, but he's got a pretty good amount of articulation given his size. The goggles look great. I think making them out of the rubbery material was a wise decision to make it easier to get them on and off the head. I did try to put them onto some of the larger figures like Alan. Alan, obviously, he has the hat, but I tried to put them onto Ian Malcolm. They don't quite fit. They can kind of come like most of the way down towards his eyes, but it is made for a smaller head, so they mostly just work with Tim. But yeah, he's a great figure. I'm glad he scales well with the other figures, so I'm glad we have him. I will say I'm a little bummed the set doesn't also include Lex, because she's another very important character in this scene, and I feel like it would have been a perfect opportunity to include the two of them as a pair. I don't know why they didn't. I guess just to keep costs down, but I am hoping we get a figure for her eventually, because she's like one of the only main characters from the movie we don't quite have yet. That and the lawyer who gets eaten on the toilet. Again, another figure they could have put in here. But in any case, Tim came out great. I'm just hoping for a Lex figure. Maybe we'll get like a visitor center or something down the line and she could come with that. I feel like she would have been a perfect candidate for that John Hammond Raptor 2-pack they did not too long ago that came with the banner that I reviewed. Because instead of giving us a second Ellie, give us a Lex. Like, why didn't you do that? But in any case, that's neither here nor there. Tim came out great. I think the T-Rex looks good. It's definitely one of the like lower articulated T-Rexes. I know they do have larger, more articulated versions out there, but they're more expensive. I think for what we get here, he looks great. He's got a good amount of articulation, and I think really where the T-Rex shines is the paint applications, because they do such a good job with the shading and, you know, adding all the detail. The eye looks fantastic. The mouth, the way it opens works well. The inside of the mouth looks fantastic. I mean, I don't want to use the term lifelike because obviously we've never seen dinosaurs in real life, but it really comes alive. I think they do a really nice job, and that's something I've always applauded Mattel for, the way they paint these dinosaur figures. They really, really do a great job in making them seem somewhat realistic and, like I said, just making them come alive. So I really like the set. Kind of a few minor nitpicks, but honestly, I think the value's there. I think it's fantastic, and I absolutely love it. I hope the line continues. Like I said, I'd love a visitor's center. I don't really know what other vehicles they could do, at least from the first movie. Obviously, there were more vehicles from the second movie if they want to start getting into those characters. But Lost World hasn't seen much love. This line has basically just been for the first movie, and then we had some other 3 and 3/4 inch figures for Jurassic World when that was out. But Legacy Collection seems to be pretty much just sticking to the first movie. But hopefully there's some more things to do. Like I said, I'd love a visitor center. In any case, I'm rambling. This is a great set. I highly recommend it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.